Hey guys, hey, we're live today on Facebook. We're doing our radio show, so stick with us. We're going to do a full, I think it's only about 45 minutes, but we're going to do a full hour. We're going to Facebook Live this, and hope you guys like it. Hope you guys get a lot out of it, so enjoy. All right, guys.
Jay, the new website address is what?
I'm sorry?
Our new address is what?
We don't have it yet, but it's going to be whatsthedealradioshow.com. Whatsthedealradioshow.com. Can you guys see me okay? My big fat head is not in the way. All right,
Yeah, go to whatsthedealradioshow.com. So that's our call to action today.
Perfect. All right. Okay, Jheri, let's jump into it. Let's round one. Let's do it.
Real estate marketing and technology experts focused on elevating the client experience through innovative and cutting-edge strategies. Brought to you by Platinum Living Realty, the luxury real estate brokerage. Now, here are Jay and Jheri.
On today's show, we are going to go through the top 6 most important services that home sellers expect from their real estate agent. Coming up. Good morning, everybody. I'm Jay Macklin, owner, broker, and marketing coach with Platinum Living Realty. And I'm here with Jheri South, luxury real estate marketing and sales expert, also with Platinum Living Realty. And you're listening to What's the Deal, where we provide real estate marketing tips, tricks, trends to help you navigate the home buying and selling experience, but not how you might think. Welcome. Hi, guys. How are you?
Good, how are you?
We have a special guest today.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we'll introduce her a little later, so I just didn't want to not notice her.
Yes, Debbie, we're excited to have her in studio.
All right, so today we're going to go through the top 6 most important services that home sellers expect. And what's interesting about this, and I thought this was kind of cool, I always like these lists, but what was 1 and what was 6 was completely flipped from what
I was just going to say that.
I was like, wow, that's number 6?
Yeah, because I thought if we're going to start counting backwards, we're starting with the one that I think is usually the most important.
I think that's 1 or 2.
Right.
But number 1 is actually a legitimate number 1.
Okay.
All right, let's not tease him anymore.
No, I was going to say, let's just get going on this.
Okay, so the top 6 most wanted services or expected services from home sellers from by home sellers from real estate agents is number 6 is negotiate the best deal with the buyers.
Right, and so why do you think this wasn't number 1, by the way? Do you have any thoughts on this?
You know, I do. I feel that sometimes we as agents don't necessarily put a lot of effort and energy or emphasis on how well we negotiate. Like everybody else says, you know, when you buy stocks, that's when you make your money, not when you sell them. And same with real estate. Real estate's always location and how you buy them. And so I think that's a very important. Now, this is top 6 out of, I think, like 35 or 40 questions. This also came every year. The National Association of Realtors puts out this list. So let me preface that a little bit. But yeah, it surprised me. So I think the problem is that we don't put a lot of emphasis on how we negotiate. And I don't know that a lot of real estate agents have a really good strategy, which I think that's really important. That's something we definitely push, obviously, in our brokerage, is that you have to stay relevant with buyers and sellers. And that's the one thing, is you have to really get good at negotiating. Like anything else, our society, I don't think really does it or allows it in a lot of different places, where in other societies they do. And I think that's a big issue.
Well, and do you think also that I think sometimes sellers don't always understand the negotiating process really goes on throughout the entire transaction. So, I mean, I think that, you know, there's a lot of other things that are really important when it comes to selling your home,
right.
But it's not until you actually get in it,
yep.
And you're doing tough negotiations through not just the sales price, but then also if there's any contingencies, appraisal, repairs, that you really start to understand the value of a real estate agent who can negotiate on your behalf.
100% agree, because it's not just the price, right?
Right.
It's the whole entire deal. It is the Binzer period. Now, it's not obviously designed as a negotiating. It's not designed to get 2 bites of the apple, but we find that we end up negotiating a lot of different inspection items and things like that. So, good point.
Yeah, so I would say I appreciate this in the top 6. For me, when I'm sitting down in my listing appointments, I usually talk about, hey, this is one of the very most important things I'm going to do for you. It's
Absolutely.
my number 1. I just want to put it out there. My number 1.
Yeah, I think that is. I think there's got to be that's number 1, 2, or 3. But what's interesting is the reason I like this list is because their expectations and our expectations are not always the same.
That's right.
Right. People don't understand industry norms and terms, and so coming up this weekend, I'm going to do I'm going to do a man on the street. I'm going to actually interview some people, some consumers on the street, and I'm going to ask them what those terms mean, and you'll be shocked when you hear they have no clue.
I'm so excited for that.
CMA.
And
Like, what does that mean?
By the way, just I have to say this. Go to whatsthedealradioshow.com where you're going to get more information on what Jay's going to be doing and also our free book and what we do with our listings. Lots of information there. Whatsthedealradioshow.com to find out more about us.
Awesome. All right, well, let's jump to number 5.
Okay.
So number 5 is interesting because I think it's more of a baseline than a service. It's more of an expectation, I think. But number 5 is help with paperwork, inspections, and settlement.
So I hear hand-holding a little bit, right?
Well, that's the thing is that here's my opinion. If a home seller or home buyer can out-negotiate us, find homes, sell their home without us, and traverse the contract without us, we become less relevant. So I think this is very important, number 5 is.
Sure.
Because I think there is a lot of pitfalls, a lot of issues with the contract that home sellers obviously need us to walk through. And so, hand-holding is a good term for that, but it's not in a bad way. It's a good way.
No, it's a good way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, and that's something I hear. I try to make it to every one of my signings, which is whether it's buyer or seller and inspections. And I'm surprised how many times the escrow officer will tell me, I hardly ever have agents come to my signings. Just little things like that, just for agents, it makes such a difference for clients to know that you are there, regardless of all the other things you have going on.
Yep.
You're there at every important part of their process.
Absolutely, and that's 100% agree. I totally agree with that. And when the settlement agreement comes out, or the CD, and the inspections, they don't understand what they should be requesting or understand what they should be asking for on a buyer inspection, or what the buyer actually asks for. They don't, sellers don't realize what they should be fixing and what they shouldn't. So, because of course our contract now is as is.
Right.
There's not a what they call it, it's been so long ago, a warranty section, right? So
that's right.
Yeah. So a lot of people assume that, hey, I have to fix these things, and our contract here in Arizona is as is. So, okay, great, good points. Okay, Jen, let's jump into number 4. So number 4 is find ways to fix up their home to sell it for more, and I think this is where our guest comes in too.
That's right. I can't wait to bring her in.
Yeah.
I know, but I like this. So finding ways to fix up your home, I get that a lot. That's a very common question, and so I'm going to talk to Debbie about this more in the next segment. But I get that question all the time. Is it important? Is it worth the money to stage my home? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And I think this number 4 also talks about ways to fix it up. So, when you go into a home and it needs some work, you always have to decide whether or not the work would outweigh the end result, which is more money for the home. So, people want to do, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of remodel just to sell their home. And some homes warrant that, but some don't. Most just need a lot of just touch-ups and fix-ups and things like that, because someone's always going to put their own touch on it.
Well, it's interesting. So I've been to several listing appointments over the years, and I remember one particular. It was just a real medium price, somewhere in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, and they had other agents come in, and they were getting suggestions like they had really beautiful kitchen cabinets.
Yep.
They were dark wood, that they needed to paint them all light, that they needed to rip out their bathroom sink because it wasn't double sinks. And I'm looking at, what the potential is to make on the comps. And I thought, these suggestions, it's spending way too much money. And also painting cabinets is still only going to appeal to half of the consumers. So I think it's really important. I feel strongly when I go into a listing, it's like, how can we get this house ready in the least amount of money and still get the most amount of money out of it?
100% agree. Yeah, that is the whole idea. You have to walk into a property and it has to look like a model. You know how you feel when you walk into a model?
Sure.
You're like, I just want to write a check. Bring my bags and write a check. That's exactly how every house should look. And so we talked to a lot of sellers, and there's a lot of homes that are vacant, and people just think, oh well, you know what? People can vision themselves or putting their stuff in the house, and less than 5% of the population has vision. And so, like we talked about in our first show, people can't get past a red wall, let alone having an open room, and they look at it and go, what do I do with this? I have no clue. But if there's furniture in it, they go, oh, it's almost like looking at a blank piece of paper. I'm really good at jumping off points. If you give me a white piece of paper and say write something, I'll stare at it for hours. But if you give me an option to jump off from, or to kind of start with, perfectly fine. And that's what I do believe, that not only staging but also decluttering. That's something that a lot of people don't realize it's so important. And then the number one thing, and you can probably talk more on this, is depersonalizing. That is a huge issue. And it's a touchy situation, right? You don't, like, hey, you got a beautiful family and all the pictures are on the wall, but, some agents disagree with that. Some people think, and I'll get your opinion on this, but some people think that having pictures or having personalized stuff in the home makes it more personal, and it helps buyers identify more as a family home. What's your opinion?
It's a very case by case basis. I would never just say yes or no. I have to walk through. Like if you have a big beautiful portrait painting or something, or there's just in the very right place, and it's your dogs and your kids sometimes, but for the most part, I think depersonalization is good. I think about when you walk through the model homes and the new builds. You don't see pictures of families. You see art. You don't see empty vacant houses. You see furniture, and I think that it needs to look like a model home in the respect that it's pretty, but you can still visualize your stuff, and that's what you're doing. You're tricking them by putting beautiful stuff in there, and then saying, "Hey, picture your pictures on the wall."
Well, but I think Michelle, my wife, had a listing at one point, and beautiful home, and she had it staged because the furniture in there, was.
It didn't work.
It was old grandma, and no offense, but I mean, it didn't fit the house. If it was all that type of property, it would have been fantastic. But it was such a beautiful modern home, it just didn't fit, and so the disconnect. It's like when you walk into this beautiful Mediterranean outside home, and you walk into an extremely contemporary inside. There's that disconnect. It's like, whoa! I thought I was walking into a Mediterranean villa, and I walk into a New York loft.
That's right.
So yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So that was number 4. So let's jump to number 3. We'll leave the last 2 for our next after our segment or after our next break here. So number 3, the number 3 list of what sellers expect from their real estate agent is to price their home competitively.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're both looking at each other like,
this is interesting.
Really?
This is interesting because it says 17% of sellers they place a huge importance on this, that they don't want a fat listing price. They want their house to sell. And I would say for me, it's been half and half. Some people really want their house to sell, but a lot of people really do want to see you try to get as much as you can. And I feel like me as a listing agent, I have to sit there and go, okay, well, here's the comps. Here's what's going to happen if we list it too high. Here's what happens if your house is sitting on the market too long. It's a conversation that needs to be had.
Absolutely, 100% agree. Yeah, I think price, people, one of the things if you don't have as a good strategy on pricing is really doing a good comparative market analysis. And by the way, that's what a CMA means. I know you guys know that, but some of the people don't know what that means.
No, that's good.
But anyway, so my point is that not just look at homes sold, but homes expired. Homes predictively identify who the buyer might be, and we talked about this in our first show. By identifying who historically bought a home like that, I can almost predict what the price will be as well, based on the size, location, type of home, and so I think that's really important to make sure that you guys are very honest with people when it comes to listing their property at a price that is realistic. We offer a realistic home price guarantee at our office in our brokerage, and I think it's really important to do that because a lot of people and agents have done this. We talked about this last week of the top 10 lies that real estate agents tell, and one of them is overpricing their home. That was the number one thing, right? They lie about price.
Well, and I think I might have even shared this experience, but I took a listing appointment, and she told me that she had brought 2 other listing agents in, and one priced it much lower and one priced it much higher, and she really wanted the higher price. And so we sat down and we looked at the comps, and that was the thing, is you don't want to get yourself in a situation where you list your house too high, and then I have to backpedal because it's not selling. And so I like to present them with the price and then kind of let them know, hey, we can do it a little bit higher as long as you're willing to bring it back down.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, well, on our next segment, I'm so excited. We're going to have Debbie Bally here. She's from Savvy Staging. Savvy Staging. I got it right. This is Jay and Jheri with What's the Deal. Go to what'sthedealradioshow.com to learn more about what we do. We'll see you at the next segment.
I didn't get a two-minute. Did you do a 2-minute deal?
I didn't hear it.
I didn't. Oh, you did?
This needs to be turned up a little bit.
I didn't hear it either.
I didn't hear it at all, but so I was worried I wasn't hearing anything. So.
Okay. No, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. What number? You are number 4, I think, right? 4.
Just turn it up a little bit. Sorry, is it?
You want to put it on? Test it. How does that sound? Does that sound better?
Do it one more time.
Test.
Oh, that's much better. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't hear I was waiting. I'm like, oh my God, it seems like a really long segment. Yeah, sorry. Also, you can always just, Jeremy, you can always just wave because I'm really good peripheral. So, awesome, thank you. So we'll do the top 2. We'll come up with it because we have 2 left.
Okay.
And then we'll jump into, what's our next segment?
Well, it's Debbie.
Oh, crap, we need to do the top 2.
Yeah.
Do you want to leave that for the next segment?
Yeah, let's leave that for the next
So let's do
segment.
Debbie, and then we'll go into, okay, coming up, we still have the top 2 left of our
Yeah.
6 things that sellers expect from the real estate agent. Top 6 things. Okay.
Right.
So we won't do the top 2. That's fine. All right, good.
And then I think that if you're going to bring this segment in, probably, even Title Alliance, you know a lot about Title Alliance. If you want to just, this segment is brought to you by, or mention them somehow, because
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt Debbie with that.
Yep.
What do you think? Or do you want to do it at the end?
I'll do it at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll give me a little more time to...
Or do you want me to do it at the end? Am I
Okay.
going to close it out? That's what I'm asking. Or
Oh,
are you?
well, you're always good at closing it out. I'm always good at bringing it in. You're always good at closing it out. It doesn't matter. What do you guys think? You guys think we should close? Who should close it out? Who should bring it in? You guys let us know. All right. So I think we both have that radio voice anyway. So yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I think we need to definitely jump in Title Alliance, and
Okay.
they do such a great job. We definitely need to talk about them. So
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
all right, good. I'm just gonna take a quick little hold on a second here.
You guys have such good energy.
Oh,
It
well,
is
thank you.
really Great.
Okay, so we have a lot of questions here, and we'll just get through whatever.
All right, guys. What are you
we can.
thinking? All right, awesome. Sounds good. We're still rolling along here, pretty good.
It's really behind the scenes here. Yeah.
Now can
My
we
ice
see
is
you?
clanging in my thing, and I'm like, oh my god, you can probably hear that. I probably should.
I'm like,
back
just.
that up. I'm gonna do that now, actually. Break that up.
Okay, good. Sure, I don't have any.
So, Debbie, what is your last name again?
Well, the new name is Bali.
Bali.
B-O-L-L-E-Y. Yeah, I
Bali.
got married 3 months ago.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. So it's Debbie Bali with Savvy Staging.
Right.
Yes.
All right, good. So
I
I
totally
can.
botched that.
I love it. That's so funny.
Sorry about that.
These guys in the back are like, boy, their first 2 shows were awesome.
This show is just, I know, maybe it's the Facebook Live. I
It's
don't
the
know.
live. You guys are making us nervous. All right, no, we're doing a good job. All right, so let's. I'll bring it in. I'll introduce it, and then.
Okay, I can take it out and just do a different sponsor as well, because we have 4 that we have to get through before
Okay.
the end of the show.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, you have questions for the last segment too, right?
Yes, I do.
Good.
Okay.
We can fill that up with
Yes.
sponsors as well, so we need to. So.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Okay, Mr. Jeremy, I think we're ready to roll it up. We got 6 minutes segment, or 9 minutes. Then we have 6. That's right. So the 6, we'll do the 2. We'll do the last 2. Let's do it. Okay. Yeah, because I don't hear anything. I'm like, is it plugged in? All right, welcome back to What's the Deal with Jay and Jheri. We are on our next segment. We're bringing in Debbie Bali from Savvy Staging.
You said
Welcome.
it so much better than I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
It was the coffee. Welcome, Debbie. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing awesome.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us. It's really good to have you. And I know a lot of our agents, and I know Michelle, and all these people have used you. So we thought this would be a great segment because one of the things that sellers really do expect from their agent is to make sure the house is done well, right? So this is where you come in.
Yes.
And I don't think people, we hear about staging all the time, and I think a lot of people just think of money. They just think, oh my God, it's a lot of money. They don't realize the net value that it brings when you do stage your home.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really important. So we really appreciate you coming today
Yeah,
because
thank you.
that's going to be a big piece of what we do. And not only that, but obviously with everything else that we do, I think staging is a huge piece. So
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Why don't you start just by telling our audience a little bit about your company and how you got started in this industry?
Well, our company is 10 years old. We've survived the ups and downs of the market. It's just been really fun. Got an awesome team of 10 people, actually, and I have been pulled out of staging, and they're doing it now. But
Nice.
just love working with realtors and helping homeowners sell their homes quicker, just giving them hope and helping them.
well, it's nice when you
figure
see
out.
that and it happens, and you're kind of like in the background doing high fives.
Yeah,
You're like,
absolutely,
That
absolutely.
was me. I sold
Yeah.
that house. Thank you.
It
She's like,
was
yeah,
the staging.
It was all me. baby.
No. It's a team
Yeah, of
effort
course
for
it is.
sure.
Yeah, well, you guys just do such a good job.
Thank you.
And I was curious on what is the best way that you think agents can talk to their sellers about home preparation and staging for their home?
That's a really good question because, they're wanting to get, like you guys said, the most money, for their house. And as far as staging, think about it. When you walk into a home, I've bought and sold personally like 9 homes. We're getting ready to sell our 10th one. And as you're looking, it's like you decide within 15 seconds, is this what I want or is it not? And so when we stage, I tell my girls, I want you guys to have that entryway just looking amazing and, to grab them in to fulfill the expectation of what they're going to get. So
that's right. I know, and I'm sure you get great feedback because I think most agents, wouldn't you say, Jay, agree that staging really helps to sell a home.
I've never met an agent who said, I staged a home and it didn't work.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let me back up though. There are people out there, and you can probably answer this too, Debbie, is that there's companies out there that will do little bits and pieces or move their, adjust, the homeowners and, stuff around, but to do a full stage, it adds so much value from a visual standpoint that there's a proven, I forget what it was, I'll have to pull it up, but it shows that list price ratios are much higher when homes that are staged. And I'm sure you've heard this or seen that, right?
Yeah, we've got statistics. And that's one thing that we can do for our realtors. We have a list of, objections that they might have and statistics as to, how staging has worked. And we've got graphs and charts to show, days on market for typical realtors and how ours are usually less for, days until accepted contract.
So what do you feel helps draw in top offers or helps, the house sell for the most? What do you do at Savvy Staging to do that?
Well, as far as, we are not decorators, we really do, we try to stay on trend with things that are going on, but we walk into a home and we look at the style that it is. Of course, Tuscan is totally out, so we're trying not to do that anymore.
I really like Tuscan. I'm sorry.
I know.
My wife's like, you're so dated.
Oh, that's too funny. It is beautiful. It's a beautiful aesthetic, but people are looking for more clean lines, and we try to stay on top of the trends. And we used to put so much stuff in, and it was heavier and darker, and you've just got to keep ahead of what people want. Now they want it streamlined and clean, and so that's what we're doing.
That goes right along with, I was going to ask you, how's your company become one of the top professional staging companies in your area?
I think it's several things. I love our clients. We really try, some people walk in and they're like, we're going to do it this way and we're going to do it this way. We walk in and we ask them, tell us a little bit about you. We get to know them, and I think it's just our track record of what it looks like when we're done. We do stage. Sometimes people that have moved out and we bring our stuff in and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to move back in because you've made our house look so beautiful.
Maybe I don't want to sell my house.
Exactly.
We get that sometimes when we do these beautiful videos and these photos. They're like, God, that's a beautiful house. Maybe I should just think about it.
Well, that's the running joke, right? Is you always do all the work to get your house on the market, and then it's finally in the condition you want to live in it, right?
We used to get this all the time. We used to sell houses really fast because we would do that, and then of course the homeowners are like, well, it didn't take you that long. I'm like, well, that's why you hired us.
Right, exactly. It worked.
They get mad and sell it so fast.
Okay, so this really both of you. I'm the homeowner, right? And I want to sell my house for top dollar, but I'm not really sure if I want to spend the money on staging. So how, as an agent, how could my agent really talk me into spending money on staging my home? How do you recommend the agents prepare their clients?
We have, and I don't think it's on our website anymore, but we had a staging calculator where you could put in the price of the home, the typical reductions that people come in and they go, oh, I need to reduce my house. We got to get it a little bit more
in line.
And then what it costs to stage. And so I've got a typical scenario here. Say you have a $200,000 home, and if it's been on the market so long, say they've reduced it 8%, so you're at $16,000 in reduction. And staging, our average stage, this one says 1.5%. We're nowhere near that, but we're typical. We start out at $2,000 and we go up to whatever it is. But when let's just say $3,000 for staging, that's $13,000 stage, and add in your carrying costs to it,
Sure.
and you are ahead. You're ahead of the game.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that calculator. That's pretty cool.
It is. It's really good.
And to answer your question too, Jheri, is that we have we always ran our 100% of asking price guarantee. And
Right.
it was, we guaranteed a seller that we would sell their home for 100% of asking price. And if we couldn't, we'd pay them the difference. And that was always going to be something because of our negotiating, because of our buyers in waiting, our marketing, and a lot of that marketing included staging. And it was really important because, otherwise I'm not just going to throw a sign in the yard, put it in the MLS, and hope and pray that some agent brings me a buyer. I'm going to actually go out and do what I need to do to find that buyer, and staging is a huge piece of that.
Right.
Right. Well, and you had mentioned to me previously that you thought it was important for real estate agents to participate in continuing education.
Oh, right.
So what exactly do you think the agents could be doing to help their home sellers with that kind of thing? When it
With
comes to
continuing education, and through that I meant like taking classes to understand what staging is and how to speak to your buyers about it and what it does and the statistics with that, and how important it is too. I mean, these are the things that we say, and you guys know, like photos, having photos on. That's where everybody's going to look at their online looking at.
It's got to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, we only have a couple minutes left, but just tell me what's in store for your company this coming year.
Oh my gosh, we are so excited. We are getting ready to start doing the vacation rentals, VRBOs, and just
Right
helping
on.
people with that, and that's going to be just a new, exciting thing. We're trying to ramp up our occupied stages. We call them market makeovers, and it's such a great way for realtors to be able to pay for staging. We typically do not want realtors to pay for staging,
Right.
especially when it's vacant. It's so much, but with the market makeovers, it's such a great thing to add into your package. And we come in and we're the bad guy. We help the homeowners realize what they need to do. We walk in, real gently and say, it's a beautiful home, but we want to appeal to a broad demographic of buyers. And, we typically do like hands-on and move things around. So that's something that we're getting ready to up and getting into the
That is
luxury market a
exciting.
little bit. Yeah, we're excited. Lots of fun stuff coming up.
It is fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, and the other thing I have to say, and I really mean this, is that you are just such a sweet, wonderful person to work with and kind. And when you say, Jay, that makes a difference. You're not
100%.
working with someone who's kind of bossy. And you're really, really kind and
There's
sweet.
enough
So,
of that in real estate.
yeah, that's true. So, I mean, you're just a pleasure to work with, and you do such a great job. You can contact Debbie at 480-710-3624. That's Savvy Staging, or find them at savvystagingaz.com. When we come back, we're going to talk about the top 2 things that consumers are looking for from their agents. This is What's the Deal with Jay and Jheri. We'll be back in just a minute.
Clear?
I actually pronounced my name incorrectly.
You said Jheri.
Yes.
Did you?
That's bad when you get
That was
no,
funny.
Yeah, it was really good. That was very good.
No.
Thank you, Debbie. It was really, really
Thank
fun.
you,
That was
guys.
really good.
Thank
You did a great
you.
job.
Yes, you did a great job.
Yes.
Kind of nerve-wracking. I had all these things to say, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, that's how it is when you get on here, because it's whatever you say is just going to get out.
And as we go through the shows, when we do shout outs, if there's other things on there that we didn't touch on today, let's do that as the shout outs.
Yeah.
As another reason to use Debbie is this. And then the next shout out, we can actually keep adding those as we go.
Great.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds
So let's
good.
just make some really good lists. And I loved your list. I just knew when I saw them, I'm like, these are awesome. We'll never get through these.
Yeah.
We'll get through 2
But
or 3
she's
at the
coming
most.
every month, and that's the good news is
Yeah.
we'll continue to build on
That's
this.
true. That's true. Yeah.
Fun.
And feel free anytime to just send me a quick text or email and say, Jheri, when you do my shout out this week, will you mention this? And we'll
Okay.
write it down and make sure
That sounds good.
we'll get a little more organized.
Okay.
about
Oh,
our
you guys
list
are
too.
great. You guys are
All right. Guys, can
We're
you all
awesome.
hear me in this? Is this okay?
Okay.
I mean, I know you can hear me now, but
Saturday
I want to make sure you guys can all hear me okay. So, all right.
You're welcome.
I'm so excited. You guys are awesome.
Thanks, Debbie. Thank you so much.
I felt like I did a lot better on my exits last week, so I'm going to work on it. They were a little smoother.
It's the name. It's the name change. So,
It is. I keep almost saying the wrong thing.
Bye, guys.
all right. Bye, Debbie.
Bye. Have a great
Okay.
rest of your
Oh,
day.
I will. Y'all too.
Yeah, I think it was good. I think it was really good. I think I think for whatever reason,
I didn't have enough. I'm not realizing how much time we have, and so then I'm trying to cram all this stuff in, and I'm not getting it in.
is
so.
there, Jeremy? Is there a timer in here? How do I do? Do I just push it like a chess timer? You did, but you may have to do that again. But you don't have to do it now. I just want to make sure that we're good now. But if I just hit reset, that'll reset everything.
So it's 6 minutes, correct?
It's 99.59. No, I can't go down or up on that. Oh, if I reset, okay, and then go up. Okay, so no, that's not working either.
Well,
That's right,
I
that's
I
right.
can use my phone.
Yeah, no worries. That's fine.
Teach us, Yoda.
Teach us. Clock working not well.
Well, we think we're funny.
I think I'm funny. Facebook Live will tell us if we're funny.
Yeah. Is there a thumbs down button?
That's funny.
Not
All right, so
like.
we're jumping into the last two, right? So last
Yes.
two, and then this is what's our segment? 9 minutes?
6.
Oh, this is the 6. This
That
is
was
the short
the
one.
9.
That was the 9.
That felt like
I gotta
6.
I gotta get myself better on these segments.
So I do know that. 13, 9, 6, and 14 and a half.
Yeah, man,
Oh, 14.50.
Yeah, I gotta have my wheel, my visual wheel. All right, so this will jump through. This will go 6. That'll be easy, and then the last one we'll just do Q&A.
Yes.
Fun stories.
Yes.
And you know what? By the way, guys, anybody on Facebook Live, if you guys have questions or if you guys have anything you want us to ask and bring it up, we'll do this. This one airs on Saturday morning, so on KKNT960. So make sure you guys watch this. But if you guys have any questions, real estate agents, consumers, it doesn't matter. Ask us some questions. I think that'd be really good. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I think that people want to see that. And they want to hear certain things, and you're going to see a lot of cool things coming on the show coming up. We talked about that this morning. Little, people always want to be politically correct. We always want to be a little incorrect. So.
We want to be incorrect. That's right.
All right, so Jeremy's looking at us like, move
Okay,
on,
go,
but,
go,
yeah,
go.
hit it.
We're ready.
All right. Welcome back to What's the Deal? I'm Jay Macklin. I'm here with Jheri South, and we are talking about the top 6 most important services home sellers expect from their real estate agent. And we are at we're
2.
top 2.
Top
right?
2.
Yeah, I keep thinking like I want to go 1 through 6. We're going 6 through 1. So
Yes.
the top 2. Let's jump into that. So
Okay.
number 2 of the top 6 most important services that home sellers expect from their real estate agent is to sell their home with a specific time frame.
And that's true.
I think this almost goes back to pricing, where sometimes the unrealistic expectation of time frame. And again, I keep going back to historic data. I keep going back to being able to identify what price and how long homes would sell based on historic data.
Right.
And I think we need to start using that. I know there's a lot of big data stuff out there, which is kind of scary, but I think if we just go back and look at history, that should tell us, based on history, this is how much time it would take to sell this kind of home because of the buyer, because of the location, all that stuff. And I think that's really important. But that is number 2. So I do feel that sellers feel that maybe agents aren't giving them that expectation level. Not a lie necessarily, or not a white lie, but just expectation of what, hey, the home down the street sold in 20 days, we should do the same thing.
Well, I think it's important to do, a realtor should be doing their own market analysis. I mean, that's the important thing. When I come to a listing appointment, that's what I want to know. Are you in a hurry? Are you willing to take your time? Are you, what are your goals? Because we can look at the market and we can see what the average days on market is, but also, did those houses sell for less than what they listed for?
Sure.
Or is your house superior to all the rest in the neighborhood? Those things all make a difference.
Yeah, and I think it all comes down to, it always does, I think it always comes down to time versus money.
Right.
Time versus money is the difference between pricing and timing and selling. And days on the market and list price ratio is always going to be time versus money. And so for us as agents, we always have to identify what is the motivation, what's the timing, what do we need to do. If we have time, then we can do a lot to get that higher price. But if we don't have time, then obviously price is going to play a role in that. And then, of course, timing will be adjusted.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's a good point. So, one of the things, too, that I believe that real estate agents have a really good grasp of is not only historic data, but also being able to see the comparables, but also identifying where, like almost pre-marketing the home before it hits the market to kind of gauge the level of interest.
That's right.
As you know, we have a complete buyer database that we have, our buyer and waiting list. We've got about 15,000 buyers in there. And we frequently scrub seller homes from that buyer list just to kind of gauge interest. And so if we have 15,000 buyers, prospects in our database looking for homes on a monthly, weekly basis, we can kind of gauge the interest level of that property based on its criteria. So that might also help us on timing as well.
No, I love the coming soon idea. I mean, it really helps, especially right now when we're in a market where the inventory is low. I mean, I just had that happen, and it's coming soon, and you're already getting bombarded based on the coming soon price. You know that this house is probably going to go for more than what you even have it at,
Right.
or at least what you have it at. So, yeah, that's a really good, and clients love that. They love seeing their house marketed pre-market to see what kind of interest they're going to have as well.
Sure. Well, I think that also gauges the time and effort and energy that the agent will have to put into it.
That's
number
right.
one. And there's times where we do a lot of work behind the scenes as an agent that a lot of people just don't see.
No, I think that's definitely true.
Yeah, I mean, they just think, hey, we don't have a last put a sign in the yard, boom, it sells. No, we work intricately with our agent partners, with buyers, with other sellers. You know, we, like we said before, we kind of cross-promote other listings that we have based on the buyer activity. So I think that's really important.
Well, and not just that, but when we were talking about number 6, which again, I still think that might be closer to 1 or 2.
I do agree.
That's what I was thinking about was negotiations. I think a lot of people do think, oh, well, I'll just, for sale by owner, I'll just get it put on the MLS, and they don't realize there is so much work that goes into this after you're actually under contract.
Okay.
Right.
Yep, got it. No, 100%
Negotiations.
agree. All right, well, let's jump to number 1.
Okay.
So number 1 is find a buyer for their home. I mean, look, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to a seller, their home expired or canceled, and I said, your issue is, and they go, oh, it's not price. No, you just didn't find the buyer.
Right.
And they look at me like I have 3 eyes. I'm like, no, you just have to find the buyer. That's what clients expect us as agents to do, is to find buyers, not plunk it in the MLS and just wait for another agent to bring it. We as agents should have an acquisition system that has buyers, in my opinion.
Well, as you being the owner broker, I'm sure that you've heard this, right? Like, oh, I'd rather, from an agent, I'd rather have listings than buyers, because listings you don't have to do near as much work. Have you heard that?
Yeah, and I disagree with that. I think, business is business, and so some people do obviously like working with buyers, but more so than sellers, but or work with listings versus finding people homes. But I think finding a buyer is a huge issue when it comes to listing a home. I need to be able to do my due diligence and find a buyer, or at least the prospective buyer who would buy that home.
Right.
And then all of my marketing needs to gear towards that buyer.
Well, and that's my point, is if you are a listing agent actively looking for a buyer, scrubbing the database, getting out there and making sure it's well marketed, you're doing just as much work as you would showing houses to a buyer. And that's the goal, right?
Awesome. Yep, 100% agree.
Yeah. Well, I love this list, and it's funny because number 1 and number 2 were both kind of like number 1. They were only like 1% away from each other, so I thought that was really interesting.
Yep.
So that was fun. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, you got it.
When we come back, we're going to have our question and answer session. Always my favorite segment of the show. So make sure you listen in on our 4th segment. This is What's the Deal with Jay and Jheri. Go to what'sthedealradioshow.com for more information and to grab a free copy of our home buyer book.
Was that close? Was that close? Okay,
It was
good.
perfect.
I'm like,
Woo!
man, she's stretching it out. I love it. That's awesome. I was like, oh, it's gonna get cut off.
I need some kind of like.
Good job. Yeah, we got to learn how to use this thing, because I think it's.
Is there any way to know if it's going to be cut off other than the timer? There's not, right? The music just
He'll just
stays.
be-
Okay. 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 Pretty good or perfect? Oh, whoa!
He's
I
making us
just
work on
that
next show.
quick.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Okay, hold on. Let me go
So
get
this list is over. All right. Good job. That was good. I like that list. I like doing lists because I think there is some stunning information, or information that even we don't realize, right? Because my expectation of that top 6 wasn't even close.
Right, yeah.
Like you said, I thought number 1 would be negotiating. I mean, but finding a buyer is definitely, I think, what sellers want. But yeah.
But I think it's just because real estate agents have a different understanding of what is going to happen, right?
Yep, 100% agree.
So I'm just thinking, moving into the segment, because we do have 1450. Do you still want to do your What's the Deal? We could start it with that.
Yeah, we could do that.
Why don't we do that?
I like it.
I do too, I think.
So we're going to do a new segment. It's called, just What's the Deal? So today, I want to make sure nobody has one on. I have a big issue with real estate agents and professionals wearing ball caps and T-shirts to work. And I'm like, hey, what's the deal with when did that become
A thing.
a couture accoutrement? A business accoutrement.
Spell that, please.
I'm not going to spell it. All right. All right. So we got 14 minutes and 50 seconds. Give me 2.
I'm going to try and time us here.
Nope, I don't need that. Okay, good. All right, guys, how we doing? I like it. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Hope you guys can hear us okay. My mic should be working good. So we're on the last segment, so thanks for hanging in. Hope you guys like it.
Really, like, these guys really need to get it together, right? And you're usually not supposed to see the behind the scenes.
I like behind the sings.
I know, yeah, it's great.
Behind the scenes is fun. All right.
Usually it's where the best conversation takes place. Honestly.
Completely agree. All right. We're going to wave at some people. We're going to tag some people. I like it. Hey, David. How you doing, buddy? David Morrell. My buddies up in Calgary. You guys are awesome. Candy. Charles, love it. Nathan Singh, you better be on this thing. I'll see you in Montreal here soon.
Ooh, Montreal.
Oh, I love it. I have never been.
Yeah,
I go to Toronto all the time, but never been. They said I gotta
It's
go.
so glamorous.
They said it's a foodie place.
Oh, this is perfect for you. Right? Travel and
As
food.
I just weigh myself and I'm...
No, that's not what I meant.
All right.
So we got some sponsors to get through too. So
Yeah, you want to do that?
yeah, do you want to? Do you want to do Title Alliance when you enter? What do you want to do? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got to do. I can do any of them.
You know, I don't have a good segment for Title Alliance.
Okay.
I got to come up with that. So maybe what I'll do is we'll have to do that next time. I got to come up with. I don't have
Okay,
a good thing
sure.
to say on that. So what we'll do is we'll do 2 next week, and then
Okay.
I'll give them an extra plug somewhere else.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. Actually, let me think about that. Yeah, I can do it.
Whatever you want to do.
I can do it. I'll do it at the end.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. What's the deal?
What's the deal?
All right, let's roll with it. Yeah. Welcome back to the What's the Deal radio show with Jay Macklin and Jheri Sal. So we just went through our top 6 list, which was a lot of fun. We had Debbie from Savvy Staging, which is awesome. And so now we're going to start a segment this time called What's the Deal?
What's the deal, Jay?
What is the deal? So here's my grant and my gripe today is, what's the deal with ball caps and T-shirts for professionals? I
Oh.
see people do this all the time, and it's not like you're on a Sunday afternoon doing a honey-do list.
Right.
You're showing property, or you're at the office. I mean, I see people everywhere with ball caps, backward ball caps, and T-shirts, and I know it looks cool, and I think Google and maybe Facebook started all this thing of relaxed dress, but when did that ever become a
I don't know. That's what I'm
proper-
wondering. It makes me. I can't tell because it's not necessarily a generational thing. I mean, I see.
No,
yeah.
I see guys older than me with ball caps on. Now this is because I am jealous because there's no ball cap that actually fits my head. So that's
so that's where this is
this is
coming
really
from, yeah.
This makes me feel better that I can rant about it. But no, I thought it was interesting. I was watching a lot of things on Facebook, and I see a lot of things, and I see a lot of people with ball caps, and it's cool if it's like a casual setting, but I don't know, it seems like it's getting filtered into business attire. Like it's almost acceptable to wear a hat or a ball cap in a business attire.
Well, it's just this really casual attitude. When I'm out showing houses and other agents are there, the majority of the agents that I run into are actually very casual. And it's interesting because I was at an open house last month, and I had a couple come in at the beginning of my open house, and we had a really good conversation. And at the end of the day, they had gone to several open houses. They had written down everything they wanted to see on their own, and they called me and they said, we want to use you. And then they started telling me about an open house they went to, and of course the agent was a little bit late, but the thing she said to me was, and he showed up in a baseball cap and shorts. And she was just so put off by that. And it's funny because I'm going to tell on myself a little bit. I've been doing this for a long time, and a lot of people that I work with are referrals or friends or people that, as I've started working with some people that I'm a little bit closer to,
Mm-hmm.
I noticing myself getting a little bit more casual, like showing up to the home inspection and maybe not
Sure.
as dressed up. And I that's debatable. But one day I just made a decision, like I am going to be dressed up. I don't care if I'm going to a home inspection. I don't care if I have to go show them where the water shutoff valve is.
Yep.
I'm going to be dressed up every time, everywhere, no matter what the property is. It served me well.
It's always serves me. Every time I'll get dressed, and my wife's like, "That would look better without a jacket." I go, "Honey, I can't wear it. I'm a jacket guy. I like wearing jackets. I'm not wearing one now because I'm doing this, but I still think there's a level of professionalism that I think we all have to give out as agents. And I know it's 118 degrees, so golf shirts and shorts and stuff, I understand that. But I just the big issue was the ball cap. Just kind of drives me nuts.
Hey, I'm opening lockboxes and gravel and hills, so you can put on a jacket, right?
I do them all the time.
And by the way, what shoes do you have that aren't going to go with the jacket? I mean, you got to consider the whole ensemble.
Exactly right.
That's right,
Belt,
Mr.
your
Shoeman.
jacket, everything's got to match in the accoutrement.
What's the deal,
What's
Jay?
the deal with
I
that?
really
All right, we're
don't
done.
know.
We're done with our rant. Let's get to some good questions. Q&A.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's funny. I love this segment because we're talking a lot about what homeowners expect from sellers. And so we were with Savvy Staging. I just want to give her another shout out. Debbie Bali with Savvy Staging was in here. SavvyStagingAZ.com. Go there. She is fantastic to work with, and she really will help sell your house for more money.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the importance of staging a home. How much money do you think someone should put into their home to get it ready for sale? I know it's kind of just a vague question, but
That's a good question, and that's kind of went back to our first part of the segment. You have to put it, if it needs it, enough to get the ROI out of it. People always say, hey, if I put, for instance, $30,000 in a bathroom, which is a lot for a bathroom, will I get that out of there? And some locations will not. Some neighborhoods will not. There's a lot of people who over-improve their home for the neighborhood.
right.
For the purposes of selling their home. They don't need to do that. But I also think that there is a level of expectation at a certain price range in certain neighborhoods. And in my opinion, a really good real estate agents will help us do that.
That's exactly what.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
agree completely. And then, what's your opinion of length of time on the market for your home? Does it hurt you? How long is too long in this market today?
Yeah, that's a good question, because a lot of people look at days on the market and they use that as leverage. They go, oh, it's been on the market for over a year. I have negotiating leverage, and that could or couldn't be true. But I think that people with motivation and timing, homes shouldn't stay on the market that long unless it's functionally obsolescent, unless it's overpriced. I mean, there's some issues usually. You see a lot of that with people that have rental properties and then they have it on the market forever and they don't take it off the market. They just keep it through the rental and then they sell it, and of course the days on the market continue. But I don't know that it's a real indication of a problem, but it could be. I guess that's
Right.
my answer. So yeah, I think people look at that as a piece of the puzzle when they decide to make an offer on the property.
Right. So I think a good agent doing a little bit of digging and research and market analysis.
Hey,
Is
there's
key.
there's no problem to call a listing agent.
Right.
Hey, Jheri, I saw this house on the market, and it's been on the market for 685 days. What's the deal? What's the deal?
What's the deal? 685 days?
Oh gosh, we had a couple that were over like 1,000 days,
Wow.
and typically that's just somebody who doesn't take them off the market; they just keep going. But yeah, no, they call a listing agent, find out.
Well, I think there's just so many variables. I mean, I had one recently at the beginning of the year, but these people listed their house on December 20th, so that played into it. There's just so many things that go into that.
Totally, timing plays a lot. Some people think, hey, you gotta take your home off the market in the summer because everybody leaves, or hey, I want to take it off the market, for Christmas because I don't want to fight Santa Claus, so,
Right.
or Hanukkah, whatever. But I think that there's some legitimacy there, but timing is an issue with that, and although last year July was one of our biggest months of the year.
No, that's true. But then it slowed down after that. And so it made all
Yep.
the difference if your house was just listed in the end of July or the beginning
Sure,
of August.
totally.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I also get a lot, clients just get excited, like, oh, this house has been on the market, and it might be a house that's priced more in the luxury market. And they're like, hey, it's already been on the market for 40 days.
That brings up a good point, and I think that finding these reports, like there's all these different reports and stuff out there that you can find. Hey, what's the average days in the market? What are all the what's the typical home in this neighborhood? And so that brings me to one of our phenomenal vendors that we use is Title Alliance. Title Alliance Platinum is one of our just premier title companies. They are a phenomenal title agency, and so they put out this every month. I don't know if you got it recently, but every month they put out a report that shows days in the market, list price ratios, different different cities, different neighborhoods, and things. So that is a really valuable tool, and I think that really helps us as agents and even consumers to kind of get an idea of what the average is out there. But anyway, so Title Alliance Platinum, if you want more information on what they do, you just go to taplatinum.com, or you can call them at 480-912-3238, and they do a whole bunch of good stuff for real estate. I can't list it out, so I'm just going to say stuff.
They're amazing. We love them. They
yeah.
do great stuff.
Yeah.
What's the deal with Title Alliance?
What's-
They do great stuff. Well, okay, and real quick, before I ask my next
Yep.
question, I just want to let everyone know where they can go to find us as well.
Yeah.
What's the deal radioshow.com. You can get a lot of information there about Jay and myself. We offer a free homebuyer's guide on that website. The 5 silliest mistakes that homebuyers make and what you can do to avoid them. This is great for anyone who's been in the market before and getting in the market again, or first-time homebuyers. And then the other thing is, in the back of that book, we have a lot of homebuyer offers, special homebuyer offers from our trusted partners that will save you a lot of money when you're going through the home buying process. All you have to do is go to our website at what'sthedealradioshow.com and pick up a free copy of your book by clicking on the free book tab.
Yeah, actually, that's good for sellers too, because sellers can see what buyers' mistakes are, and it helps in negotiating.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good point, Jay. I like that.
Yeah, that's my number one.
Okay, so now you are the owner broker.
Yep.
You manage a lot of agents, and I'm just wondering for you, what?
Actually, let me back up. I do manage them, but as you know, Brittany Douglas, our managing
Yes,
broker, does a
I'm sorry.
phenomenal job at
That's
that.
right.
So I'm going to give her a little shout, just because she does such a great job, and we just completely couldn't do without her.
Thank
so,
you. She
yeah.
is the managing broker.
So
That's
even
right.
though I'm the designated broker, I do. She does a lot of the day-to-day management part of it, and I do a lot of the other part, legal issues and contract law.
That's true. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. And what I was going to say is you interview a lot of agents. You bring agents over. You have a lot of programs that agents really love, and that's one of the reasons they come over. But what is it that you look for in a good agent? Are you looking for age, experience? What are you looking for?
I look. There's two things I look at. I look at aptitude and attitude. I can't change attitude, but I can change aptitude. I can help somebody if they want to be helped. A lot of the coaching and the training and the systems that we provide is all around their attitude and their implementation. And so that's really important to me. I don't care how much business you do, because I can help you get there if you want to get there. I always say this, and the two things that I really just don't like in people, unfortunately, is lazy and bullies. I just can't stand that. So those two things I look for that I don't like. But what we do is we scrub them through our core values list and make sure that they fit. But typically it's attitude and aptitude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
you're
love
welcome.
that.
No,
Oh, well, and you've done a good job at recruiting agents, because we have a great team over there at Platinum.
There's a lot of great agents out there, and you know what? There's a lot of great people who I think really take this business a little bit as a given. We go through school and they don't really tell us how to find and procure buyer prospects and seller prospects, and how we can really elevate their experience. Mm-hmm. How can we elevate the client experience from a real estate standpoint? Like I said before, we're in this commoditization service. Yet, as agents, we don't identify the proprietary pieces of that process that really makes the client experience phenomenal.
That's right.
Yeah, we have to create a wow experience, and if we don't, I think we fall flat.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's why we love being at Platinum. Okay, so we've been talking about sellers, right? Getting their
Yep.
house ready. And when I was talking about the home buyer guide that we offer on our whatsthedealradioshow.com website, it reminded me of this that I read, and it just reminded me that we cannot predict what buyers are always going to be looking for, right? Just the way we can't always predict what the top things that sellers are expecting from us as agents. And I thought this was really, really funny. These were crazy questions from buyers when they were looking at homes that were for sale.
All right, that's
Okay.
fun. This is what they're looking for?
These are things that they said when they're looking through the house.
Oh, okay.
The agents have reported their clients actually said to them while they're looking.
Oh.
I'm going to go backwards.
I like this.
Number 5, I might have put them in order. Number 5, why is the garage unfurnished?
Unfurnished? Does it have carpet in it or something? Or is
I don't know. What is this? Why is the garage unfurnished?
Hmm.
So, and this could be in any state. This isn't necessarily in Arizona.
All right.
These are not Platinum agents that have reported these questions.
Okay.
We only have really highly intelligent clients. Number 4, is anyone buried in the backyard?
They asked that question?
That's what they reported.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
Not in
who knows?
Arizona, it's
Were they from
Caliche. You
Florida?
can't dig the ground here.
Number 3, does the driveway come with the house?
Okay.
Maybe most of the houses out there don't have driveways. It's kind of like a backyard. It's just like driveway is an added feature.
I just saw something online that said that this guy went to an auction to buy a piece of land, and when he went to go look at the piece of land, it was the strip of driveway between one house and another. So it was a public piece of property that was like 3 feet wide by 30 feet long.
Oh, great.
So I guess that's probably a valid question.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
in context there.
Yeah.
Number 2, do any swingers live in the neighborhood?
Okay.
Okay, moving on. And number 1 crazy question from buyers, how do you keep alligators from climbing up into the toilet?
That's definitely
a Florida question. Yeah,
I like
that didn't happen in Arizona.
No.
But I thought that was great because I didn't really mention any of those things in my home buying book.
No, I think that's probably a good thing. I think you're okay with
Really?
that.
Okay, but so here's kind of just an interesting question that I get a lot. Can I call the 3rd bedroom in my house that wasn't permitted in the garage a bedroom?
Okay, so technically, if you have a bedroom, in fact, here's what the Department of Real Estate, or I think it's the MLS actually says, if there's an ingress and an egress to a bedroom, it's technically a bedroom. So I don't think there's a technical, you have to have a closet, you have to have a window, but if it's not,
you have to have a window.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I don't know if it's not permitted. I think it's still a bedroom, but I think it still has to be permitted.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's still considered a bedroom. I mean, a functional bedroom is a bedroom, but if it's not permitted, I'm sure that will be called out in the inspection, or you'll have to get it permitted.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the question. If you're putting your house up for sale, can you call it a bedroom? Yes, but you'll have to disclose that it's not permitted.
Totally,
Correct?
absolutely. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. And then the other thing I was going to ask you is, what is the expectation when it comes to due diligence, the buyer versus the buyer's agent? Because sometimes a buyer doesn't understand what their responsibility is when they're buying a home when it comes to doing their own due diligence.
Okay, good question. So I think that there's a lot, right? There's the buyer disclosure forms that all the agents should send the buyers. But yeah, there's a lot of due diligence on that. And I think that home inspections, and there's a whole gamut of that. But as agents, we need to let the buyers know. There's a huge form that we give them that shows them all of their due diligence opportunities that they can have. And I think that's something that we definitely need to make sure. We can go through a list of them, but that one form itemizes everything.
So that they're aware of what their responsibilities are.
Yep,
I know
exactly.
we're running out of time, or else we could probably go into that a lot
100%
further.
agree.
We really appreciate you joining us. This has been What's the Deal with Jay and Jheri. Please go to our website at what'sthedealradioshow.com to get more information and get a free copy of our homebuyer book. It's been great, and we will see you next Saturday. What's the Deal with Jay and Jheri? Well, I was really a lot happier with my exits last week, but that's all right.
We're working on it, guys.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we did a good. That was good. I'm not sure about the swingers though.
Sorry about that. It was a real question. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
We didn't talk about it.
I
Right?
saw Lisa in there cringe. I'm like, uh-oh. No, we didn't expand on it. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you being on with us, and stick with us next week. We'll do the same thing, and we'll see you then.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.